In this video, I just want to bring light on a subject that, a lot of us, I think, deal with. And it's this, we don't have a choice really, but this idea of socializing and social life and how to enhance it. For a long time, I was trying to figure this out. Like what makes it that people, get driven to other people? What makes it that relationships last? And what makes it that, people can, how do you connect better with people is pretty much the question. And what I'd say is that, through time and stuff like that, I realized that, like, it's not necessarily, you can't do anything about people because you don't control that. But what you can't control is yourself and how you are around people. And so the relationship that you have with people is actually going to be a reflection of the relationship you have with yourself and how you deal with you. And the main point about this is this idea of trust, which I realize is pretty much at the center point of all of this, is that the trust that you have with yourself is where it all starts. How you feel like you can trust yourself, how much you allow yourself to just be, to flow, to act, how much you trust yourself or believe for yourself to be trustworthy around people and to voice what you think, to speak without thinking too much, allows you to be more comfortable in every setting. And then from that point, allows for other people to be comfortable around you because they see how freely you're just able to be. And the point about this is to say that this whole idea of trust, this whole idea of being trustworthy is something that you can build. But there are a lot of things that come in between us and being somebody who's trustworthy. The main point about that is, well, first of all, the baggage that we carry about being trustworthy, like, so experiences that we've had and how we sabotage our own self-image, how we sabotage the own idea of us, of the clarity that we can have of the world, of ourselves and stuff like that, which can create confusion and sort of unknowing how to act, how to actually go and move around people and stuff. The second point is sometimes this idea that we struggle to forgive ourselves or forgive other people for actions that they've made. And the problem with that, with this idea of forgiveness, is that we end up having to pay the price for that. You end up paying the price for other people's mistake because you carry with you the weight of their own mistakes. Like, let's say you're angry at somebody because they did X, Y, or Z, right? And now you hate them, like you hate them with a passion. You're the one carrying the hate now, though. You're the one carrying this emotion, and this you'll bring with you everywhere. So this emotion is towards who? Towards somebody else. But all you can process is you. So what ends up happening is that you hold anger, pain, and frustration and hate towards essentially you. And how do you think that shows up into relationship with others? It's always going to create a sort of hiccup. It's always going to create some type of place, a moment where the melody can't just be harmonious. It's going to create a bug. And when you bug, people catch on that and be like, whoa, like, what was that? Why were you not comfortable right there? And at that exact place right there, they'll know that there is something about you with yourself that you haven't processed yet. And that will make them question the trust they can have about you. It will make them think like, okay, wait, there's something there. You're not honest with yourself enough. You're not good with yourself enough for me to feel good around you. And at that exact moment, at the exact point, there's a level of comfort that people won't be able to reach with you. And as that happens, you can't develop relationships as you wish you would. It will always be a problem. It will always cause a limit. And so that limit is only goes as far as the level of comfort, of reflection that you've done with yourself. It would also depend on the level of complexity and depth of how far the pain that you've caused or you're attached to in your life is. But that you can solve. That you can, all these things you can actually heal. But now that if we understand what the problem is. We can pinpoint where the pain is. We can pinpoint what is actually going on, why you're uncomfortable around people, why this or that, when does that happen. You can ask the right questions. What is it that hurt you? What is it that felt for you, that made you feel pain? What was that experience? What were the things that you remember about it, right? What about it have you held on to? What are the lessons that you've come up with, right or wrong? Whether those are right or whether those are wrong, what are the ideas that you've held on to? Is it that people are not good people? Is it that you're not a good person? Is it that you're not worth trusting? Is it that people are not worth trusting? Is it that you understand what I'm trying to say? But as you're able to ask the right questions, won't you see the role that you've played into them, and maybe you'll be able then to not feed yourself and eat from that lie or that idea that doesn't serve you anymore. Maybe you'll be able at that point to see how you're responsible for this struggle that you live, and then be able to make the right adjustments and to stop taking these actions, to stop playing a role into your own sabotage or destruction, whatever, and then be able to just move on, like be able to let go of them. And this attaches to the video right before this. The video right before this talks about that, because the next step after this is going to be for you to face a void, because now once you no longer have that, right, that attachment, you're going to find yourself with there's going to be like sort of a lack of identity, a lack of security, a lack of familiarity. But that is to be aware of, so that you don't fall into the trap again, you don't regress, but you can just fill that void now with just, first of all, like slowing down, and then filling it up with more clarity, allowing yourself to just expand into there, and to not just keep blaming other people for that. And so if you want to enhance your social life, you want to actually have deeper bonds, deeper connections and stuff like that, that's where it starts, right? That's where the pivot point is, pretty much. But the second point is linked to this, but it's also something that we should, maybe it has to be said, but it's understanding of ourselves. Because if you don't understand you won't be able to answer the first part of this video, right? And so maybe this is the first step, or the first point of thought is understanding who we are. But then moving on from the point of understanding us, is to pinpoint where the pain is. Ask yourself the right questions. Because if we understood who we were, right, we understood ourselves and what do we like, and people say know ourselves, right? I like to say understand ourselves, because we're always in movement, but basically to know ourselves means that we know what we value. We know what we feel strongly about as being important in life. And that allows for clarity in action, that allows for clarity in voice, that allows for clarity in thought, and it allows for, again, comfort from other people as well, and for ourselves, because we know how to carry ourselves, we know where to go, where we don't want to go, we know what we'll tolerate, not tolerate, we'll know what we stand up for and not, and that creates a lot of peace, because we don't have to just go with every moment and try to figure it out on the spot. You can give it time, you can give yourself, that is worth giving yourself time and reflection on. Don't you think, bro? Like, don't you think it's worth for you to ask yourself these questions, reflect now before it ends up happening later? As you're gonna have to pay the price later if you don't know these answers. If you don't know yourself, you don't know what your view is about the world. And that can be expensive, way more expensive than the ways to do it now. And the ways to do it now are pretty clear. You stop distracting yourself, you stop just being in the mix all the time. You can offer yourself some isolation, everything that allows you to think and to reflect, right? And all that reflection, all that stuff is going to be, is going to allow you to fix and approach the first part of this video, the first part which was about, you know, seeing what the pain is, because sometimes we can be so distracted and so caught up into life and what it is that we can't even feel or even give ourselves the chance to think about stuff like this. And so I hope that makes sense. Thank you for watching, and let me know if this was valuable to you. Leave comments, and if you want to be part of a group that has or of understanding, right? I'll leave a link in the bio for my school program. See you guys on the next one.